Hi everybody, this is Gayle. Welcome to my channel. How to pack if you have asthma. Pearls in the River asked me, how do you travel when you're sick? She said her son wants to take a big road trip for his graduation gift. This is the same time that her husband retires. She says, I have asthma and diabetes. They want to see the whole country. I don't want to get sick out of the Grand Canyon or in no man's land without help. How do I get ready for this extreme adventure? So I thought I would come on and share how I create a travel pack for asthma because I have it too. I also have other health conditions. So I can really relate with what she's saying here. I go out and travel, and as you all know, that's part of what this channel is about, despite having all of these health conditions. So I hope that what I share is going to be helpful. But you all who are watching, when you come back later, or if you're here during the live stream, I want you to drop your comments down below and help her out. Also, I've got the link to the video where her comment is. That's linked below, and I have her comment pinned at the very top so you all can find it easier. So packing for a road trip when you have asthma, I first want to tell you that yes, you can travel. Go talk to your doctor though first and create an asthma action plan to follow. Now with me, my asthma has landed me in the hospital more than once. I've been on a breathing machine, and I've taken breathing treatments on the road, and that's okay. That happens. But the first step, my video is not medical advice, okay? This is just works for me. But the first thing I do is go talk to my doctor and tell her, I'm going on this big road trip. I'm going to Alaska, or I'm going to New Mexico to see my daughter. What do I do? How do I get ready for the road trip if I have asthma? And what kind of asthma action plan do we need to develop? And most of all, what do I throw in a travel pack? So now I have this just about down to a science. So I'm hoping that this will help you all out. Let me write in there, hello and welcome. So if you've not been here before, now is a great time to hit that subscribe button. And do consider sharing this out with your friends because I think that this video will be helpful. And I'll do another video later on how I travel in diabetes and epilepsy and so forth. And of course, the foot drop. So we'll get on to those other health conditions on another video. I just wanted to go ahead and come on in and help her out for a minute. So my first tip is don't be afraid to get out and travel. Even if you've got a health condition, there's very little reason why we have to stay home just because we have a health condition. So I would say go out and try, and don't think of yourself as being sick because this day and age, everybody's got something. I can't think of a single person who doesn't have asthma or another health condition. It's just common. So what I do and how I create my travel pack is I try to think of what is the worst case scenario. What would I need to get out of that? So try to think from that point and work my way through the more minor scenarios. So when I talked to my doctor, we decided that one of the worst things that could happen would be for me to get out and not to have access to medical care. So the first thing I do is I research where the hospitals are when we're on the trip. I look that up ahead of time. So if I'm going to the Grand Canyon, I know there's a hospital like in Flagstaff. So how far would I be from the hospital if I went to the Grand Canyon is one of the things I would look at. Same thing if I'm going to the Smoky Mountains. Where's the hospital? Well, it's in Sevierville. So what would I do if I'm in the Smokies and I need a hospital? What kind of route would I take? So I look at all of that. I don't panic, but I have a general idea in mind by doing the research of where these things are. In addition to asthma, I have allergies that I have to consider. So, the first thing I do, if I'm going to an area that I think is going to trigger my asthma and it's allergy related, then I'll take my allergy medicine with me. I mean, that just makes sense, right? So, I'll do that. But when I talk to the doctor, we come up with an action plan. So, I know A, B, C, D, E, right, of what to do. One of the things that I do is contact her if I'm out someplace and I'm not feeling well. So I can tell her my symptoms and she can phone something in if that needs to be done. Also, if I wind up having to go to the ER, she knows. I'll tell her. As far as getting in touch with somebody on the road face to face, I use MD Live a lot. Now, I've used them pre pandemic, so I've used them for a long time. And I've had really good luck with them. So I will contact my doctor, contact them if I need to. A last ditch effort, go to the emergency room. But I've got many steps that I have to go through first before I ever have to worry about going to the emergency room. And that's all based on the plan that we've laid out. So the first thing I do is I make sure I have my inhaler with me. And I know you're looking at this bag thinking, what? It's been chewed on some, and there's a rough spot in the corner there where it's been chewed on. That's because I have a service dog, and I can tell my service dog to get inhaler, and he knows automatically to go and get this pouch. He knows where it is in the van. He knows where it is in the car. So if I am out someplace and I'm having problems, I can just tell him, get inhaler. He'll go and he'll get this pack. But I have more than just the inhaler in here. That I have little treats that I can give him because he's bringing me the right thing. So there we are. There's my inhaler. I make sure that my inhaler is fresh before I ever leave the driveway. Always want a fresh inhaler. If I have an inhaler with me that's not fresh, I might stick it in my suitcase as opposed to keeping it in my purse. So I'll have two on the trip. But I always make sure I have a fresh one. The other thing, this little baby. This is my pulse oximeter. I have it in here with my inhaler. So with this, all I have to do is turn it on, put my finger in it, and wait just a minute. It will give me my oxygen rate and pulse and all that information. So yeah, I'm doing pretty good. 99 on my oxygen. This way, when I talk to the doctor or I contact her through the portal, I can tell her exactly what my saturation rate is, which is important to her. It's also important to me because that informs what my next step is. And that is to switch to these things. I have the albuterol sulfate. This goes in my breathing machine. And I have a small breathing machine, travel sized. Most of the time, you're going to see these huge white ones. That's not the case this time on this one. This is not battery operated though, but I do have a plug. So that way I can plug it up in the car and take my treatment that way. Instead of having the mouthpiece and the tubing that you can't reuse, this one's got a mouthpiece that you just wash out, soap, water, vinegar. It all comes apart. And so I just wash it and reuse it. It goes in its own little bag. I've had this for years. I don't even know if they still make this one, but I'm sure they have some sort of travel nebulizer. So if you're going on vacation and you have asthma, talk to your doctor about getting a prescription for a small portable nebulizer if you want to. Just make sure you try it out before you take the road trip and make sure you like it. The one downside of this one is it vibrates and rattles my teeth. So my whole jaw will be kind of numb from the rattling. But 8 minutes, my treatment's done. I'm breathing better, coughing up junk, and ready to go. So, inhaler, breathing treatments, machine. If it gets too bad, then I can take the steroids. Now, by going in and talking to my doctor first, part of the asthma plan that we draw up is I'll have steroids with me. She'll send it. I'll get this filled before I leave home so I know I'm going to have it. And that way, when my asthma gets to a certain point, I'll go ahead and start taking those. Okay. She also will send me sometimes with a prescription for an antibiotic, just because a couple of times I have been out and started coughing up, stuff that was funny colored. So I could go ahead and start the antibiotic. Now I can also talk to MD Live and talk to her by telehealth. Whoops. Which is really helpful. So the other thing, because I have allergies, I also will have my antihistamine, but my allergies are bad enough that sometimes I have to have epinephrine. So I make sure that my epinephrine is in date and it looks okay. And inside the box with the epinephrine, I have Benadryl and I have this piece of paper. And this piece of paper has got my doctor's name, phone number, a copy of my insurance card, the medications that I'm on, what I'm allergic to. And it's just a couple of sheets, actually, not just one, but a couple of sheets with my other health conditions on there. That way, if I am needing this, I may not be able to speak well. That's happened before. And even if I can't talk well, they know who to get in touch with. And it's all right here with my epinephrine. I have one in my kit over here, but with this one, I'm probably not as likely to use this one just because I can talk. Because usually my asthma is not that bad at this point as it is at this one. And this one's got 2 inhalers. 2 injections in case I need it. Now I got to get back in here. So, anyhow, Benadryl is keeping it from getting in. But so that gives you an idea there. So I do a lot of solo female travel, even though I have the asthma, and that's okay. I like it. I don't like staying home, which you all know that. So as part of the action plan, I make sure that I have a cell phone that's working. So I look up and see what kind of service do I have along the trip. Am I going to be in a zone where it's going to be questionable, or am I going to have a really good signal? I plan ahead for that. So if I'm out and I'm in a spot where my cell phone is kind of questionable, like when I go across Canada, last time, one of the first things I did was go to the Walmart, and the first one when I crossed into Canada and said, hey, I need a cell phone that's going to work in this country. And they set me up. So yeah, it's a little more expensive and it's a little bit more of a hassle, but it's worth it. I also have Google Location set up. That way, my husband doesn't have to call me every 15 minutes going, where are you? What are you doing? Are you having fun? Are you bored? How's it going? Are you stuck in traffic? He can look at Google Location and he knows where I am. Also with that is if I am stopped somewhere for too long of a time, because he has a tendency to check it frequently. So if I'm stopped at a certain point for too long of a time, he'll call me and say, hey, is everything okay? And at that point, I can tell him, and we have a certain action plan of what to do just in case I'm not okay. But with the Google Location, he knows exactly where I am. And he also has the license plate number of the vehicle, and he knows what the van looks like, and he can tell people. He's also got a photo of it, so he can send that. Also on my phone, I have an emergency thing set up where I can tap the phone so many times and it will automatically send out a little message to pre-designated contacts. This is just an app that was already on my phone, set up for that. So check yours, because you've probably got something like that too. Super, super helpful. The other thing that I do is I check the weather report every morning, because when I'm traveling with asthma, weather really impacts my lungs. So I don't want to have a lung problem and get caught unawares if I can plan for it and head it off at the pass. So with me, smoke doesn't bother me as much as large weather inversions. Isn't that weird? So if it goes from, bright and sunny to really cool and rainy that night, and then bright and sunny the next morning, then I know to kind of watch it, because my lungs may start getting a little twitchy, in which case I can I have a special inhaler that I can go ahead and start taking if that happens. So I just pay attention to the weather forecast. Also, the smoke advisories. I love Fire Avalanche online because it helps me so much to know where the fires are. Because last time I went to Alaska, I ran into fires across Canada and into Alaska big time. At one point, there's fire on both sides of the road. Not an optimal situation. But even though there was fire and flames going on right there, it's the smoke that's the problem. And the smoke you can have for 100 miles and more. So knowing where that is and kind of where the smoke plume is going is very helpful to me. But the weather inversions hit me differently than the smoke does. So you've got to watch out for that. Now, some people have problems with dust mites, and I have never done this, but I have a friend who takes her own sheets and towels to the hotel because she knows that they're washed in really hot water. So she changes the sheets. Like I said, I've never done that, but she does. And I've heard of other people doing that when I worked in the hotels. So that may be an option for you. Like I said, I've never done that. I do tend to travel in my van or in the RV. That atmosphere is a little bit more controlled. If I'm in the van and I start smelling something outside that's tickling my lungs, I can flip that over to recirculate on the air conditioner, which can be y'all know already. It's helpful, right? So, huge. And that kind of helps mitigate it. I don't travel with a HEPA filter running in my car like some people do. I've just heard of that recently. It's not something that I think that I would need, but if you feel like you need to, that may be an option for you. So you can explore those kinds of things if you go into your doctor and make an action plan. And you really want to make an action plan for asthma or any other kind of health condition, just so you have peace of mind. Just because you have an action plan does not mean you're going to have to use it. It's kind of like insurance, where it's there if you need it, but if you hope to never need it. So anyway, I hope this is helpful. This is how I do my travel pack for asthma and how I get ready for road trips, given my lung conditions. And any questions that you have, drop those in the comments below. And Pearls in the River, her comment, I've linked to it. That is down in the description box. It's the Van Tour Travel, Solar Female Travel. And I've pinned that comment right onto the top. So if you want to go and leave her a message, you can. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful time when you go on vacation. Enjoy summer. Have a fabulous road trip. And always #be Bodacious, which means you're not going to let life get in the way of living. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.